In a previous video, I said I deal with women on my time and my terms. And the reason why I deal with women on my time and my terms is because I understand that the concept of time is precious. Once you lose time, you can't get it back. And for every second of my life that I spend with a miserable person, that's time I could use to be doing something more productive, like writing some of the books back here. And I would rather spend my time doing something constructive like writing than being involved with one of these dysfunctional females out here who adds nothing to my life at all. And one of the reasons why I came to this conclusion about dealing with women on my time and my terms was based on something my mother said about my father back when I was about 12, maybe 13 years old. She said that the reason why she got involved with my father was because she felt sorry for him. And I heard that, back then and said to myself, there's something wrong with that. And it's instinctively. And it didn't, I didn't connect the dots until I became about 15 years old. And this somewhat attractive girl, when I was at Park West High School, said that she liked me. And she, kind of tried to make an advance on me. And what happened was, I heard later on her talking to one of her friends, and she said she felt sorry for me. And I connected the dots and saw the pattern starting all over again. And I correlated, the two events, and I said, you know, these black women, for the most part, have no respect for black men. And I looked at the overall picture, started looking at it and saying, there's Oprah Winfrey on here bashing up black men. You have, girls like the ones I went to school with bashing up black men. And they are sitting there saying that they they have no respect for black men, you know. And if they don't have any respect for black men, then why should I spend time chasing them? And then, moreover, I looked at the men that they were getting involved with, your neighborhood dope dealers, at the time, the guys with the beepers, the guys who could, and these guys thought that they had, great women chasing them, but the truth of the matter is they had no foundation for any sort of relationship. Basically, all these guys were being used as tools. And I looked at that and I said to myself, you know, this is a real waste of time. And what really, accelerated things and helped me really come to understand things when I got mugged on the train. And then I really started to see how little respect, black women have for black men. And because I saw this at an early age, the total lack of respect, total lack of regard, I began to understand that, the best thing for me to do was to focus on myself, focus on my goals, because there was no way possible you can have a relationship with any of these African American women out here. That's what I said to myself, because if without respect you have no foundation for a relationship, you have no platform for a relationship, there is no way possible for you to have a relationship, because respect is the foundation that love is based on, it's the foundation that trust is based on, and it is the principle for everything. Because when a woman respects a man, she will love him enough to look out for him, to protect him, to support him. And respect all goes back to the biblical standard of the helpmeet. You see, the helpmeet role that God established for women, He established that so that the woman, you know, would be able to help the man. She would be looking forward to helping the man. She'd be looking forward to supporting the man. And she'd be looking out for the man's best interest. And that's what a helpmeet does. She's trying to help the man, move himself, not only move himself in life, but move them together in life. And I didn't see that, at an early age, 15, 16, back in the 80s, regarding these Afro-American Negro women. I didn't see it then. And now many of these women have grown up. They're in their 40s now, and they have mothered children. And still don't see it, you know, right now. I don't see any type of woman out here who really, especially the ones that travel in my circles, who meet the biblical standard for help, meet, and support. I don't see anyone, presenting themselves in terms of values and character. If you don't have any respect for men, then you have no foundation for a relationship, as I see it. And a lot of black women have no respect for black men, and that was taught to them by women from the generation of my mother, and that's the culture that was taught to them. And as I see it, that you can't have a relationship with anyone who has no respect for you, because if you have no respect you have no foundation again for a relationship. Because where there's pity, or there's, coming from a standard where you see the man is beneath you, what happens is this evolves into contempt. And this contempt is why these women will do things like cheat on this guy, talk greasy about this guy, and, even plan to even murder some of these guys, or, set up things where this guy winds up getting murdered. So, as I see it, you pity is not a foundation for a relationship at all. So, if you have, a lot of guys think that that's a gateway into a relationship with a woman. It's not a gateway into a relationship. All that's going to do is lead up to you having a lot of grief. Now, in addition to the whole, having no respect for black men, I also saw how when these Negro women would get involved with these dope dealers and these thugs and assorted, dysfunctional kind of mixed nut Negroes, what I saw was, the models for relationships they were having, and what a lot of the women did was, again, use these guys as tools, move themselves from point A to point B, and the guys, all that, because they were only focused on the nuclear waste facility between their legs and getting their taste of the waste. They weren't looking at how this woman was looking at them and how this woman saw them. She basically saw this man, especially as she was going into the college period. She basically saw this guy like a child. When she was like in 16, 17, getting her Reebok Freestyle sneakers off his dope money, her Air Jordan sneakers, her triple fat goose, and riding around his Jeep, she saw the guy as a tool. But as she started going to college and, getting her career on, she started looking at this guy and started seeing him as a child. And basically, after she started seeing him like a child, that's when a lot of women would start showing their contempt for these guys. And I saw that quite a bit, when I was in college and even on some jobs. The way women would talk about, black men it was disturbing to see. You never saw, women coming from a position of admiration or respect, or saying that they valued this man or they found something good to say about, black men. And when I saw women talking like that, especially sometimes I'd just be sitting on the train, they'd be talking about men, I would say to myself, there's nothing here, again, worth pursuing in terms of values or character. I don't see anybody who would make a suitable partner or under God's standard as a helpmeet or support to me. I don't see anybody who would add or enrich to my life, or anybody, worth spending time with, because, again, my time is precious. I would rather, again, spend my time in front of a keyboard writing rather than dealing with a dysfunctional female who wants to sit there and, talk about Jimmy Choo shoes, or, clothes out of a catalog. I'd rather spend my time researching on a subject like the goth subculture or Egyptian gods rather than deal with one of these females. I would rather, spend time learning, drawing, learning about drawing the human figure, or learning a technique of writing like screenwriting, rather than deal with one of these females. I feel that, the time that I spend, again, should be spent enriching myself and enriching my life, so that I can enrich the quality of life of others. And I don't see, much to deal with regarding many of these African American women, you know, out here. I mean, I feel, again, my time is precious and my time is valuable. And, you can't get time back once you've lost it. So why should I deal with someone who I feel is not going to add anything to my life or enrich anything in my life, when I could spend that time doing something more constructive? I would rather, spend time researching, even to make one of these videos, um, than spend it, trying to sit here and try to meet up with some female who really is not interested in building anything, accomplishing anything, or achieving anything. And that's what we have a lot of here in the South Bronx, regardless of race, when it comes down to women. The entire pool is thoroughly tainted with dysfunction. I mean, all it raises is one generation of single mother after one generation of single mother, and you really can't build with a woman whose values are messed up, because a lot of guys, when they all they're thinking about is a 66-inch rear end and, you know, 34 double D's and bouncing up and down as they're, getting their taste of the waist. But I'm thinking, about the person above the waist and especially between the ears, because, you know, if this person can't help you in any way, shape, or form, contribute to anything, you know, outside of their body, then what's the use of being involved with them? Um, because, a lot of these guys don't think about this, principle, which is the female that you're getting involved with, the values and the character that she has right now are going to be the values and character that she teaches to your children. So if you have children with this female, and her values are, all about heading to the store and going out to go get the new Air Jordans, or she's out here, thinking about shaking it in a club. What is she going to teach your children? What values are she going to teach your children? Because the woman is the first teacher of culture, and it's paramount for a man to find, if when he's looking about, a woman to father children with or people to have relationships with, these are the values that, you have to think about what you want your children to be taught, what type of values that she wants to be taught. Now, some guys will get involved with these women for a fling, but they're not worth I look at it this way: they're not worth my time to even get involved with at all, because this just does not meet my standard. Again, my time is precious, and I would rather not waste my time dealing with someone who I feel cannot help me in any way, shape, or form than deal with. That's time I could take to spend with people who actually can help me, achieve and accomplish the goals I want to achieve. I'd rather deal with those people rather than deal with females who are out here, all they've got is all they can do is show off, their only assets to life are their 34 double D's and their 66-inch rear end and their painted up face. And once they get around my age, the painted up face and all that stuff starts to fall apart. So then you really see, they bring nothing to the to the table. So again, that's why I deal with them in my time, in my terms. And when I look at, most females out here, especially in the South Bronx, they really don't bring much to the table. That's why I spend a lot of time focused on myself and my goals, because I think, again, the things that I want to accomplish in life are, the most important things. And I've been putting myself first since late 1989. And, you know, 25 years, 26 years, that's what I've been doing. And I feel that, some people call it MGTOW, but I've been on this road, again, really since 1985 when I was 12 years old. I've been going my own way for years, but I call it going God's way, because, a man is supposed to be focused on, his goals and doing God's work in life and focusing on, what he wants to accomplish. And if he's focused on those things, then, as I believe, God will send the right woman to you, and the woman will be, the helpmeet who will help you achieve and accomplish the goals that you want to achieve in life. And that's how I deal with women. I deal with them, again, on my time and my terms. If she has something to bring to the table in terms of values and character, I may engage a female, and I may want to spend time with them. But right now, with me being out of work for the last 6-7 years, I haven't been really interested in focusing on that, because I'm focused more on building this SJS Direct imprint and trying to establish a niche in the African American book market. I'm trying to focus on learning, different crafts and techniques with writing, such as your screenwriting and your comic book writing. And, I'm trying to learn how to do different things and tell different stories, and, working on different story paradigms. And that's what I'm focused on, right now. I mean, in order to be involved in a relationship with someone, or even consider someone for a relationship, you have to bring something to the table. And I feel that right now I don't have anything to bring to the table, on an economic level. I mean, values wise, maybe I might have something. Character wise, again, I might have something. But I really feel that you have to have a complete package before you start coming to the table with women. You have to get yourself right before you can bring in a partner, and because you both of you have to work together. And this is something that many Afro American Negroes don't think about because they're so busy caught up in the whole Madison Avenue Hollywood paradigm regarding relationships. They're still trying to live, the romantic comedy, that they're not understanding that, relationships are hard work and they require both partners to, have their head in the game. And I don't see that, from women. I don't see, and I'm trying to get, myself to that position. But I look at your Afro American Negro woman today, and yes, she may have, six-figure jobs and multiple degrees, but character-wise and values-wise, I don't see much out there regarding many of them. Um, a partner who will get involved, with low-grade Negroes, dusty Negroes, dysfunctional Negroes, that says a lot more to a man of character than you having all these accomplishments, because your actions define your character. And if you would compromise in this principle, when you deal with the low grade Negroes and do all sorts of unethical stuff with him, what are you going to do with a guy like me when things get hard? That's what many of these women don't understand, that this is the standard that many men judge you by your actions and your character and your values and your character. They're not going by your looks or anything like that. And that like usually attracts like. And I haven't, again, seen anybody that I find attractive, on that level. But, you know, when I look at it again this way, you always deal with females on your time and your terms, because again, as I've said before, your time is the most precious thing on earth, and you need to appreciate every second, value every second, and make every second count. And if every second is that important, then you need to understand another principle, which is, you know, just as you approach women is how you end up in a relationship with one. And I made that point in the Stop Simping second edition um, ebook, that just as you start out, just as you approach women, is how you end up in one. And a lot of simps, they end up in bad relationships because they start out from the point of wanting to submit to the woman and agree to the relationship on her terms, instead of looking for the woman to be interested in him and working with him on his terms. And this is why, I've seen so many relationships in the African American community, the circles that I travel, fall apart, because a lot of people, they come at relationships from the absolute wrong approach. When I started, writing the book, The Thetas, that's when I really started to get an understanding of, the role of the woman. Because one night, God came to talk to me and said I was going the wrong way, because I was going to actually put the book on a feminist bin. But then when I started reading the Bible, for myself, really started reading it and understanding the role of the female, then I started to understand, you know, what it is to look for in relationships, with women. And I began to understand, this is, if you're the leader, God's leader as a man and the head of the family, then you need to look for a woman who will work with you, so that who will acknowledge you, one, as the leader of your family, two, acknowledge you as authority figure of your family, and someone who will see you and respect you. And I don't, again, see that with many of your Afro American Negro women today. I don't see that respect, because again, the core foundation of any relationship is respect. If there is no respect, you can have no cooperation, you can have no trust, and you can have no love. And without the respect, you have nothing at all, because respect goes back to the old biblical principle of do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Women who respect men won't do things to hurt men, and men who respect women won't do things to hurt women. And respect with respect comes love, and people who love each other, are going to look out for each other, because they're going to see each other, you know, as reflections of each other, and they don't want to make themselves to be look like the worst of each other. That's what two people who truly care about each other are going to do. They're going to have respect for each other. But you don't see that today with many of today's Afro-American Negro women, because again, when I was in childhood, I saw the pattern, evolving from, the culture that was taught by my mother and women like from her generation to the women of this generation, which is to see these men as people that you feel sorry for, people that you pity, people you look down on, and you can't have respect for someone you look pity and look down on. You can only have respect for someone you see as an equal, and you can look at them straight in the eyes and see them as someone you regard with the same high regard you have for yourself. That's all I have to say for this video. You can pick up any of my books on Amazon.com. Many, if you have a Kindle, are available for free on Kindle Unlimited. Again, that's all I have to say for this video. You can comment, rate, and subscribe.